You can't hold me down. 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 You can't hold me.
Project I'm doing now is that I want this meter, hopefully I can get it down in this floor, down in the ground under here, but I want to move the water line, as much of it as I can, outside and get it buried. So as you can see, it goes all the way across the shop, and I'm having to keep it warm. Right now I have some heat tape on it, and then for about a month I have to put this trash can over this. So I got the slot cut in there, and then I put a little space heater in there to keep it warm and keep this meter from freezing. I think about 3 months just with the heat tape. Runs me about $100 to heat, so I got probably about 3-4 months that's costing me, and then another probably a good month I have to have that there over top of that, and that probably adds another $50 to $100 for at least 1 month. So I'm hoping by digging the trench outside and getting it buried, I'll be able to save at least $300 to $500 a year by getting it in the ground. Pretty much gonna take it apart here and down there, and I might be able to use this same water line outside and see how I can do just putting it in the ground. If not, I already purchased some new water line that I can run, and if it's easier I might just go ahead and run that. I'll see when I get it all tore apart. In the winter I turn this off already, and I don't use water that way, but this goes up to the house, so I have to keep it heated. When it does freeze, there's a few times that it gets like -10 degrees. What happens is that it'll start freezing around these metal points, so right here, and it'll start freezing the rest of the line. So sometimes I have to come down here with a heater and heat all the way across here. Right here it'll freeze up, and then once these freezes up, like the whole line pretty much freezes. So hopefully I'll fix that problem by getting this stuff outside in the ground. All right, for most of this digging part I put in 10x speed. I think this trench took me about 2 hours roughly, maybe a little over, and that was without any breaks. So I definitely didn't want to put all that footage up on here, but I think 10x still showed what I was doing and still cut that video way down so you can see the rest of the video. I'll go ahead and talk about this backhoe. I think for this is actually my first time digging a trench, and I thought it did really well digging the dirt and doing its job for how small of a tractor I have. There was 2 spots in this clay area that were really hard, and I just had to keep on scraping at it. When you have like 4 or 5 scrapes that's not moving any dirt, eventually it'll just slowly start breaking apart. You just got to keep on scraping at it, and then once you get through that little hard spot, then it moves along again. So on this backhoe though, I think there's been one other time that I tried to move a little bit of a foundation that was stuck in the ground, and then there's also a time that I pulled up a tree root. So I didn't think it's that good for that stuff. It just doesn't have the power. When you have big objects in the ground, the dirt is around it and it kind of anchors it in. So it's hard to do that unless you're going to take the time and actually dig out completely around it. Without doing that, if you're just going to try to grab it and yank it out, it doesn't really come. So same with the tree root. You can't just grab the tree root and think it's going to just rip out of there. You actually have to dig around it and work it loose, and then you can pull it out. So you can still do all that stuff, but it's doing what it's supposed to do. It did really well just digging a trench. So I'm actually pretty happy with what the tractor was doing in the backhoe. Another issue I always have is that I lost some footage in this video because my phone stopped recording. What happens, since I'm using my phone, anytime someone calls me, it drops the recording, and it happens all the time. A lot of times
there's other projects that I've been wanting to put up, and then I go to my phone when I'm recording and find out that it's not recording or didn't record enough, and then it's just now I can't use that footage or can't even do anything with it. I've been trying to put it in airplane mode, but it's hard for me to remember to switch it over to that. And then also all the time when I'm taking breaks or doing anything, I'm switching out of it, and then I forget to switch back into it. So that's always messing me up. And a lot of times, every once in a while, it's like, even with it in airplane mode, like I'll be 10 minutes into a video and it just stopped recording out of nowhere for no reason. So there's some issues. So sometimes that happens. So I lost some footage digging the trench, but that's okay. I think I got enough. But I thought I'd mention that I do have some issues with keeping the phone recording.
Alright, I wasn't getting this to line up that well. I have a pipe in, and then I had this pipe in there as well, but I can't tell if I'm hitting the pipe because I need another person outside and I don't have anybody. So I decided to dig it with this little cup. And I also found out that I was told the water line came in underneath the garage and up, but it comes around one of the sides of the buildings and comes in. So that line outside is actually what's coming inside. So, but I was originally told that it ran straight across underneath the building and across the street to the main stop box. Pretty much there. All right, finally got it down there, got it through. Now I'm just feeding it through. I think this took me longer than it did to dig that hole with the tractor. So I'm going to be finishing it up, run it. Just going to be hooking it into that line on the other side, and then, like I said, hooking it into this. I'm in a pretty much full sweat. It was 90 some degrees today. Couldn't get it to come up the other way, so otherwise I would have just put up a couple feet. But the angle, I couldn't get it to turn right, so it was easier to go this way. So I'm running the whole line out. And I couldn't pull from the other end either, so that's why I'm pushing it through. All right, got it all pushed through there. Now I'm gonna just run it down here, and I'm gonna be cutting this water line right here and tapping into it. All right, I decided to go ahead and make a cut here. Elbow come up, and I'm gonna have it just going in there. Then I don't have to mess with anything else. All right, I decided that I'm going to go ahead and put an elbow here because I want it to be a little bit more slimmer, more compact, because I'm going to be wrapping that whole thing with some type of insulation, and that's actually sticking up a little bit. So I think I'm going to go ahead and put an elbow here and have it more compact. All right, I'm back outside. I just came out and put my tripod right there, and there's a snake. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get in on him, but he's kind of dark. Zoom in. There's a snake right there, and I just seriously put my foot like within 6 inches beside it and put my tripod right on top of it. I'm now working right here. It's going to be too dark for you guys to see, so I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys what I'm doing. I was going to use one of these that was an inch going to 3/4, but Menards is already closed, so I decided to use this off of what was inside. So I'm gonna put this into what's already here, put some rings, clamp it down, and then I'm just gonna PEX crimp the other end. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. Hopefully I can get it done tonight, and hopefully that snake won't be bothering me, but he's right in my work area. And tomorrow I'll be filling this in. I would have had this done last night in the dark, but this kind of stuff kind of annoys the hell out of you. That blue line right there, I cut into it, and it was the gas line. I only have one gas line coming across there. Underneath it, you can see that copper line coming across, and then it goes up to this LP tank with the copper line coming out of it. So you'd think that would be the gas line, and then there's a water line coming out right here going up this hill. So you would have figured that would have been a water line and that would have been the gas line, but it looks like maybe they tapped into something, I don't know. But anyways, I'm gonna fix that gas line. Until then, I'm going to go ahead and dig down some more and see if I can find the water line. Water line's in, turned on, no leaks. Yeah, this tree root is what really messed me up. When I got in here, I thought that was the copper line being run across, because it goes in the ground here, and then by the LP tank it comes up copper line and doesn't have any of this coating on it. So I wasn't expecting any coating to be on there. So I did take the thumb of the bucket and pull on this, and it shook it up here. So I was thinking that that was the copper line. You can see, like right here, I mean, that's what it looks like. So this copper line had a protective coating down in here. So I'm going to be cutting this off and putting a union in there to get that back together. And I'll be filling the hole in.
When I was filling the dirt back in, I was actually expecting to get in there with my tractor perpendicular to the trench so I could push it right up on there and make a mound. And then I was just going to let it settle by itself. But with the backhoe on this tractor, I couldn't get in there, so I was actually pushing it in at an angle, and it just made it look like crap. So what I did is just went ahead and mounted it up, and then I drove the tractor back and forth over it to compact it down in a hole quite a bit, and then I went ahead and just spread it out.
Girl might want to see this.
He's gonna get his ass fucked. That's the boy goes. He's gonna get your ass whooped.